levels for flonicamid in or on certain products. I have to say this is a long-lasting file. This is now the third objection that the Parliament is going to do. Of course, we can have an interesting exchange of views, but just that I, from the outset, would like to say as a chair, is that we already had 2 objections. They got a majority, and since then the Commission did not really change much to it. So probably that's the most important question. We are here now again for the 3rd time discussing this, and of course one of the questions to the Commission is, why did you not change anything? Because it feels a bit like a repetition. I first give the floor to the rapporteur, and then I will give the floor to representatives of the different political groups who have been assigned to that. And then we will give the floor to the Commission to respond to the questions that have been raised. But first, as said, the floor to Madam Rapporteur of this objection, Michel Rivasi. You have the floor, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay. Merci, Monsieur.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Baz. As you said, this is the 3rd time we've discussed flonicamid. For the 3rd time, we've seen a push to increase the MRLs. March 2019, September 2020, and now 2021. This is a pesticide. It has been identified as harmful to the development of fetuses, and it has a harmful effect on pollinators. It is found in strawberries, raspberries, and the idea is to increase the MRLs by 15 to 20-fold. 10 times more on wheat, 66 times more. I don't understand why the Commission is coming forward with the same levels. All colleagues present have said time and again that we don't agree with these proposed MRLs. Why? Because we apply the precautionary principle. We have farm to fork that stipulates we need to reduce the level of pesticides. And thirdly, no account is taken of the cumulative levels and the cocktail effects. I would urge my colleagues to support my objection. It is not normal that the Commission is not making any effort to reduce the maximum residue levels. They are behaving as if they have completely forgotten that we voted through an objection a few months ago. In September 2020 and April 2021, we won out, and I hope that there will be a massive vote in support of this objection. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. So that was on behalf of the rapporteur. Then I have the different spokespersons on this matter for the different political groups, and for the EPP, that's Mr. Mazilis.
Thank you. I do not support this objection. The proposed decision seems to be properly evaluated. The draft regulation intending to increase the existing maximum residual levels for flonicamid in certain products, in and on certain products, is based on the risk assessments conducted by the several member states and the EFSA. Also, the draft regulation intends to confirm the existing maximum residual levels for a number of other products, such as citrus fruits. Based on the risk assessment results, EFSA concluded that the short-term and long-term intake of residues resulting from the use of flonicamid, according to the reported agricultural practices, is unlikely to present a risk to consumer health. Proposed regulation is based on strong scientific base, and my position is we should support it and vote against the objection. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For S&D, Madam Arena.
Thank you. For once, I won't be able to agree with Michel, although our group did support this objection in the past. In the meantime, we have carried out some research, met with stakeholders, including the Commission and EFSA. We listened to the arguments, and we've listened to what Ms. Rivasi said, and we feel that there is a lot that is rather approximate, unfortunately. We've seen that the studies referred to, the US study, for example, did not have any reference to the studies and the principles applied in Europe. There is reference to only part of the study carried out, not the full study. The Commission's proposed doses would not be harmful or dangerous to reproduction. They would not be reprotoxic for pollinators. I believe we need to be credible in the objections we put forward, and so it is important that we take a scientific approach. The S&D group set great store by that. Very often, the increasing levels are justified by the Commission by a wish to stick with international trade, but that is not the case here. So for all these reasons, in the absence of clearer scientific proof opposing the EFSA conclusions, the S&D group cannot support this objection. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And for Renew, Mr. Huytema.
Thank you very much, Chair. And now, in line with the previous speakers, I would like to say that we do not see as Renew the arguments that are raised in these objections to be very valid. Also, the arguments related to the US Environmental Protection Agency, we see them not correct anymore, like indeed my colleague of the S&D just highlighted. In that sense, we believe that the MRLs are set on a scientific basis and that the Commission is not overstepping its power, therefore also not giving any basis to object the delegated act of the Commission. More in general, politically, I do understand, or I have the feeling what the Greens are trying to do. We have an authorization procedure with cut-off criteria, and with that cut-off criteria, you have to say, does it harm the bee population? What is the cumulative effect? How does it harm biodiversity? You should do it with the cut-off criteria and also with the regulation on plant protection products. But not with the MRLs. The MRLs are just saying, is it safe or not? Is it safe to eat those products, even with a slight residue of the product? And yeah, you could do it both things. If we adopting this objection, then you go back to the detection level. Basically, it's saying that there cannot be any residues of this product on our food. I believe that this is not the right tool to just set a ban on this insecticide. I don't think this is the right instrument to do so. And that it's necessary in order to use this insecticide, especially for minor crops, to have an MRL that is based on a scientific basis, that is safe. And for us, the delegated act that the Commission just come forward with does fulfill on these criteria. So our group will not support this objection. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I don't have speakers for ID and ECR, unless now someone raises their hand for that. Otherwise, I just go to the left, and on my list, Anja Hazekamp will speak.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to thank Michelle Rivasi for her objection. Again, we are talking about raising the maximum residue limits of potential harmful pesticides. And the Parliament has objected to the previous attempts of the Commission to raise the maximum residue levels of this pesticide, flonicamid, before. We do so because we are not convinced by the Commission that the proposed limit values are safe for consumers, or that the levels that will be used in the fields are safe for bees, for farmers and their families, or for other residents in rural areas. The Commission has indicated that the substance flonicamid is currently undergoing the reassessment process. Indeed, this re-evaluation of this safety should have actually been concluded 2 years ago. And it is delayed, as so many re-evaluations are. And I would propose to wait until the final results of the renewal process before any maximum residue levels are raised. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes the round of political groups. I don't see anyone else of the members asking for the floor. So that means I will give the floor now to the Commission, to Mr. Klaus Behrendt. Good to see you again. It's a kind of tradition that you are here when we are discussing objections. So, Mr. Behrendt, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and honourable members. And indeed, Mr. Chairman, as you said yourself, this feels a bit like a repetition. And you asked specifically why we keep coming back with a draft regulation on MRLs for this substance, despite the earlier objections. Well, the reason we keep coming back is because we still believe that the reasons advanced for the objection are not valid, as we explained also in the responses to the earlier objections. And we have had now 3 reasoned opinions from the European Food Safety Authority, each time, one being the basis for the draft regulations presented earlier and the one today, that confirm that the proposed maximum residue levels are safe for consumers. In particular, as regards the 2 reasons advanced by Madame Rivasi, I would like to point out that it is wrong to claim that the substance is toxic to reproduction. It is not classified as toxic to reproduction, because the RAC, the Risk Assessment Committee of the Chemicals Agency, concluded in the end unanimously in this way, even though during the debate, observations by Denmark, as described by Ms. Rivasi, were submitted, they were discussed, but the conclusion in the end unanimously was the substance is not toxic for reproduction. And by the way, Denmark has also authorized products containing flonicamid. Likewise, all member states support the proposed MRLs. The vote in the Standing Committee was with unanimity. And as regards the potential effects on pollinators, EFSA already concluded in 2010 that the substance does not pose risks to bees if properly used and if the conditions that the Commission has set in the approval are respected, meaning in particular that the application cannot take place while bees are foraging. And this is exactly what the United States have also done recently, to which Ms. Rivasi referred. So the decision taken by the EPA after the original investigation is in line with what we already have in place in Europe. And lastly, as regards the comment from Madame Hazekamp, from Ms. Hazekamp about the renewal process, yes, it is delayed, as so many renewal processes, but the rapporteur member state has confirmed to us that, again, the outcome of the assessment for the safety of bees is positive. So when the substance is used as intended, there are no unacceptable risks for bees and pollinators. So in summary, the reasons advanced for the objection are indeed not correct, as also pointed out by MEPs Arena and Hartema. And we explained that also in our earlier responses already to the earlier objections. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. That concludes that exchange of view for now. As said, we will vote on it this afternoon on the objection. That is starting at 4:15. Then I will open up the vote for voting on this objection. And with that, we can conclude item number 6. We move on to item number 7, and that's an exchange of